All right, everyone, welcome back into another PrizePicks video. Going to be touching on the top props for NBA, MLB, and some PGA as well for the day. So yesterday's bet of the day hit pretty easily. The Brewers Cincinnati game had the highest over and under for MLB based props, and that's why I want to go ahead and stack it. I actually took that a few steps further, had some 6 for 6 slips, which was pretty awesome. The Underdog slip went 2 for 3, but overall, very solid day. We always take 6 out of 7 on the day with a 4 for 4 hitting. So let's go ahead and look at today's slate. Going to start with the NBA game. And just a reminder, make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Been on a great run. I know you guys have been enjoying that. If you're new to the channel, hopefully we can continue that run for you guys as well. All right, so looking at the game preview tonight, we got Miami versus Denver. Obviously, the Nuggets are still favored to win by 8.5 points, which is pretty crazy to me. I think we all know like Denver is the better team. It's just, can Miami continue this magical run that they are on? And heck, they almost did it last game. Kind of closing out with a crazy comeback. And we do still see the point total is pretty high, I would say, for the Heat. And so once again, it's like, if you think this Vegas spread is correct, that means the Nuggets are still going to be able to score, where the Heat are going to struggle to defend them. So maybe we'd want to bet accordingly that way. The issue that I have with today's slate is that we nailed the slate from game one. It was very spot on with the expectations for the game. Jimmy Butler was going to struggle. Jokic was solid. Gabe Vincent got the over points. My issue with that is the game. How is the game going to change? What kind of changes are the coaches going to make to that now? That's my biggest worry. And then just looking at the injury situations, because we do need to monitor those. Caleb Martin is currently questionable with a sickness, as well as Zeller as well. Zeller not probably going to get that many minutes. I don't think we need to worry about that. With Caleb Martin, okay, he only played 25 minutes in the last game. That's because he was terrible shooting the basketball, right? I've talked about this a bunch through this Miami run. It's like, it's kind of strange because they haven't really had a game where all their role players were regressed back to their mean. There's always been someone that's stepping up. Caleb Martin finally regressed back down hard last game. And the question is, can he bounce back if he plays, or is he actually injured, or sick, and will he get a lot of minutes? Either way, I still think that's going to lead to Gabe Vincent still being a phenomenal bet for the over points. I talked about this in the last game where he was well on his way to getting the over points against Boston in game 7. He only needed to get 26 minutes because they blew them out. If the game is close enough for long enough, Gabe Vincent should be able to get his over points tonight. And they have bumped this up slightly. It was at 12.5. Now it's at 13. I still think I'm fine with that. I obviously felt better about it when it was 12.5, but still, this should be a good enough prop. And if I pull it up here on the 9-to-5 cheat sheet, we will see that he is projected to get 12.72. That's part of the reason why I was hoping that it would be still at 12.5. But we can also see that the average sportsbook line has it set a little bit higher at 13.25. So there are some sportsbooks that are suggesting that it should maybe be 13.5. And we are still seeing that the over is the way to go there. So there is still some juice left on that prop. And then we just look at all this like, yeah, he probably should be able to get the over. And then another thing I want to call out is like Bam really went off in the first game, which I think honestly they'll be fine with. Denver would be fine with that happening again and again and again, because more likely than not, that's going to mean that Jimmy Butler isn't dominating. Okay, so I wouldn't be shocked to see it happen again, but once again, like I don't really see Bam having that good of a game once again. To me, this was the best game he had played the whole postseason, and that's not the way Miami's going to be successful, is by Bam going off. So I do think that we're going to see that flip. So I guess that's my long way of saying maybe we could bet the under for Bam in some capacity, whether that's point, rebounds, and assists, or fantasy score. That does feel like I'd be forcing in there a little bit. But you guys kind of get my point there. He had a really phenomenal game 1. Don't expect that to continue in game 2. Then also, I do still think like Jimmy Butler probably going to get shut down again. But at the same time, I am worried that, he did have a bad game 1. Is he going to get back to his mean? That's what I'm worried about there. So probably just looking at the Gabe Vincent prop. Let's look at the cheat sheet just to make sure we're not missing out on any good prop. All right, so pulling it up here. Yeah, like these over bets are not terrible, but we can see they are pretty much spot on with what the expectations are. The only one that's different would actually be looking at Bam for over rebounds and assists. If you want to roll with that, you could. I don't particularly like that. I do think Bam could struggle tonight. And then from there, yeah, just not that many there. Once again, the Gabe Vincent prop's really the best one that we're getting on the slate, it looks like. And then from there, really not too much. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and look at the difference between Underdog and PrizePicks, see if we are getting any sort of edges there. Because Underdog does have this Nikola Jokic booster out there, which is just going to increase your payout on that prop. They did a little survey. Hey, do you want a Jokic free square or a booster And for some reason, people went with the booster. That is kind of crazy to me. You guys kind of know my thoughts on free squares. Take the free money and it's beneficial. Kind of weird that that didn't get voted for. All right, so we can see we don't have that many fantasy score props out there just yet, but we do have two right here actually that are pretty significant in terms of a difference. Like anytime we get over 1 point difference, I think that's pretty huge. So we can see Jokic, PrizePicks is valuing him a little bit higher, or sorry, Underdog is valuing both Jokic and Jimmy Butler a little bit higher. So if you think that they're going to struggle, obviously bet the unders there. If you think they're going to do well, bet the overs on PrizePicks. Okay, that'd be the route that you would want to go. So Jimmy Butler, if you think he's going to struggle, again, the under fantasy points on Underdog would be the way to go. And kind of what I mentioned was that I kind of thought they would play Jimmy Butler like they had played Kevin Durant, especially when DeAndre Ayton was out. So let's switch up and we'll get into some MLB based props for the day. Just looking at the board, we don't have any that are too significant on Underdog. What I want to show you guys is we have some really awesome ones on Underdog, sorry. Start out with PrizePicks. So right now we have several props that are over a 54% chance to hit. So right now we got 3 really awesome hit props right here, and they all are projected to get over except for Daniel Vogelback. If you guys want to roll with that, you can. I just like to use the projections as another source for making sure that the prop is correct. But we have a prop that's 57.5% chance to hit. That will probably be gone throughout the day, but as I'm recording this, it's there. So I'm going to give that out to you guys. Obviously, at the start of the video, if people have that, by all means, go ahead and use that. These 3 right here, or 4, there's 4 of them. I really like the idea of kind of just betting them, you know, pairing this up together, pairing this up together, pairing this up together. Okay, so 4 individual bets there, and then going ahead and betting this together, betting that together. So then you have 2 individual bets, and then you're just doing that to check all the boxes there, because 55% is such a good number for the props. So on Underdog, we have some really strong props. And if you maybe want to pair that with the Jokic booster, you could. That's really up to you guys if you guys like that one. I don't particularly love the Jokic one. I wish it was a free square. But now getting back into PrizePicks, you know, you could do the pitcher strikeout prop if you wanted to. It's pretty just a tight board right now on PrizePicks, like it typically is in the mornings. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take a peek at the hitting fantasy score prop. Also, before we get into that, let's just take a peek at the DraftKings Sportsbook as well. We have one game that's a 9.5 over and under. So far, that's the best game. Any 10? No. Yes. Brewers versus Cincinnati again. We could roll with that, I guess. Obviously, it's a pretty high scoring game. Yeah, I guess that would still be the best game, would be Cincinnati versus Brewers. So if you want to run it back with the stack, you could. Interesting. But yeah, let's look at the hitting fantasy score props. So the biggest issue that I have is it does seem like PrizePicks might have responded to the huge edge that was there for hitting fantasy score props. Like they might have changed the formula a little bit here, because I'm just not seeing that edge over the last 3 out of the last 4 days that we were getting there. I mean, there are so many times where if you just took a look at the Vegas line, it was significantly higher than what PrizePicks had. And then the projection data also suggested that the over should be there. So right now we just don't really have that. We have 1 that's okay. We have 3 that are okay, I guess. But really it'd probably just be Anthony for over and Bill for over. I don't really like those. I guess you could look at some unders if you wanted to. For De La Cruz, you could do the under. It sucks because this has been our biggest edge this spring and now going into summer. And it's looking like it's not. It's looking like they might have changed it because of how easy it was. So we'll see. We'll keep that on a wait and see approach. All right, so now let's just go ahead and get into the top PGA props. And I want to bring this up because yesterday, this exact same thing was out there. And because of that, it was able to be a pretty decent day. So yesterday we saw that there was a 1.5 strokes differential between PrizePicks and Underdog on these 3 props. And so I was perfectly fine betting the under on PrizePicks and then betting the over on Underdog, just knowing that with that big of a differential, one of those 2 companies were way off. And so it ended up being that Underdog was way off. So we benefited from that. That's what we're going to see again today. So looking at, we only have 2 today that are 1.5 difference, but that is huge. Okay, so Siwoo Kim currently in contention to win a tournament. How is that pressure going to get to him? If you think he's going to struggle, obviously the Underdog bet's going to be the best. But this is a situation in which PrizePicks won't change the payout for a 2-bet slip. So either way, you know, sure, if you bet 1 unit on both, you're only going to win 1 unit together with this bet. Either way, that's still a profit, right? And maybe potentially they shoot 72 and both of them hit. Either way, there's a big edge there. And if you want to toss in Sam Burns in there, you could, because it is a 72.5 or 71.5. So with Underdog, at least it will pay out. It won't be a push. So you can use that as well. Just want to call that out because that is a pretty strong prop that we're getting there as well. We don't really see that. That's kind of the benefit of this tool, is that it'll show you guys those prop line differences that are pretty drastic. It shouldn't be maybe a half a stroke, but very rarely do we see a full stroke and a half. So now let's go ahead and get into the bet of the day. All right, so if I had to find the best Underdog props, it would be these ones. Okay, so once again, though, I want to be pairing these two together. The two PGA props correlate, okay. And then what I want to do with the specific MLB props is I'm perfectly fine doing this, where we're pairing these up individually. So you do those two individually, and then you would run this one out here as well. Okay, that way we're getting it individually. Then just looking at Underdog, these are just looking at PrizePicks, these are going to be my two favorite ones right now. I think Gabe Vincent's going to still have a good game, and then if that Brewers game is once again going to be very high scoring, I think that Christian Yelich will be able to get over a run. He will be able to score. It's a 10 run over and under. Last game they dominated, and that's kind of my worry, I guess, is once again regression back. But overall, two favorite props there. It does seem like it's more of an Underdog day right now. Once the WNBA props come in, maybe that'll change the day for PrizePicks. We'll see. But that's going to be it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That does help out the channel a lot. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.